Welcome, everybody, and welcome to those of you that are at home watching this online. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. For those that don't know, allow me to introduce myself again. My name is Brad, and just like you here in the audience today, or for those of you watching on home, I'm just an ordinary, regular guy. I like to say that. And I don't like to bore you down with the details of the bio or the credentials or anything like that, but I like to say I'm just an ordinary guy. I'm just another guy, just like you, who wakes up in the morning, who brushes their teeth, who puts their pants on one leg at a time, who does their morning routine, eats breakfast and out the door. I have the same regular challenges that everybody has, paying the bills, all the different, stresses that come up with family situations or work-related situations, all of that stuff. I'm really just an ordinary, everyday guy, just the same as all of you, and just the same as all of you who are watching at home right now. And I'm just on a simple mission, and that mission is very simple: to help inspire you, to help motivate you, to help empower you to live that better life. We're all on a journey. We are all here for a reason, we're all here for a purpose, and we're all just trying to live the best life that we can. We're all just living one day at a time, and I'm here to help make that easier for you. I'm here to hopefully guide you and give you some tips, give you some lessons, give you some examples how we can do this. And so today, I'm going to be doing a special training. So if you haven't already, be sure and grab your pen and paper. You're going to want to write some things down. And then in just a little bit, we're going to be doing an exercise. And you're definitely going to need your pen and paper for that. But today's training, I wanted to focus on something that's very important in the world of living a more purposeful life. How many of you, just a quick show of hands or at home, want to live a more purposeful life? Okay, yeah, sure. Of course, we all do. We all want to live a more purposeful life. We all want to live a better life. We all want to live the happiest, healthiest life that we can. And since I started my journey, oh my gosh, it's been about 14 years now, since I started my journey, one of the things that I've realized that is key to all of this, to having that more purposeful life that I know so many of us want, one of the keys that I've discovered to, that internal happiness, to being happy. I know a lot of times people will say, I just want to be happy, Brad. I just want to be happy. I just want to find that peace. And I know, and I want to tell you, it is yours. It is there for the finding. It is theirs for you to grab, to hold on to, and to take and to use as you wish. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. We'll again go through that exercise, how you can do that. But one of the keys that I found, which is what I'm going to do this training on today, to that eternal happiness, to again having that more purposeful life, is that idea of knowing your why. And more specifically by that I mean, why do you do what you do? No matter what it is that you do. Now we can get more specific, why do you go to the store? Well, I need to get some bread or something like that. Or why do I go to work? Well, of course, because we've got bills to pay and things of that nature. We need money coming in. But let's look at the bigger picture of our life. Why do we do what we do? And I found that understanding the answer to this question is really key to helping you, or you here in the audience, is key to helping you to stay motivated when times get tough. A lot of times people ask me, well, how do I stay motivated when I'm feeling low? Understanding the answer to this question, why you do what you do, is key to staying motivated when times get tough, or when you're feeling, low, or life has got you on a down curve or something like that. And throughout my journey, this question has helped sustain me more than anything. I should tell very quickly, part of my story. 14 years ago, I was this crazy, overweight couch potato sitting at home, very lethargic, very depressed, no self-esteem, very low self-worth, all of that. And I set out on a journey to, like a lot of people, lose weight. And I didn't know exactly what I was doing or how to do it or any of that, but I just had an exercise bike and I got on it and I did my best, and wham, bam, it lasted all of 3 weeks. And part of what I understand now, why I only lasted 3 weeks, why my motivation did not last, did not sustain, is because I didn't know the answer to this question. Why do I do the things that I do? And so I kept going, lost some weight, but then I would gain it all back. And this happened for almost 3 years. A lot of people, you might have heard this called the yo-yo cycle. And so I was on this up again, down again, yo-yo cycle of losing the weight, gaining the weights, but I couldn't find anything sustainable. And it wasn't until I discovered my why do you do the things that you do, why am I doing this right here, right now, that all of a sudden everything started to click. All of a sudden everything just started to make sense. And when I discovered my why, this was a key part, I lost the weight, and then more importantly than losing the weight, I kept it off. And then over the last 14 years, every time I've had something come up in my life, I go back to my why. You know, another very quick example, coaching youth sports many, many years ago. If anybody has coached youth sports before, you know it can be challenging, the time schedule, the commitment, the working with the parents and all of that. And I came home one day and I'm completely dejected. These kids were tough and I was tired. You know, you work a full day at work and then, you know, you go put in 2 hours for coaching, sometimes 3 hours with cleaning up and setting up and all of that. And I came home and I had to go back to this question, why am I doing this? Why am I coaching these kids? So it always comes back to why. And every time that I've come back to why and I found the answer to this question, that's when my motivation picks up. And that's when I feel like that I am living that life of higher meaning. That's when I feel like I'm living that life of higher purpose. And that's what I want it to be like for you here today. I want you to feel, to have that feeling that you're living that life of higher meaning, that you're living that life of higher purpose. And again, key to being able to do that, to understanding that, is this idea of knowing your why. And in fact, this idea of knowing your why is nothing new. I want to read you a quote very quickly. There's a German philosopher from the Second World War era. You've probably heard of him. His name was Friedrich Nietzsche. He has a great quote, and this explains very succinctly what it is that I'm talking about. He says, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." So regardless of what we have going on in our life, now he was in a very different time, a very different situation. So for us today, you know, the things that we may be up against, of course, are the family relationships, the work relationships, the toxic environment. A lot of times that can be at work. And how do we manage to bear through that? How do we manage to keep going? As he just says, he who has a why. It all comes down to knowing your why. And when we have this understanding, why we do what we do, that's what can get us up in the morning. That's what can get us excited. That's when our life can start to feel like it's fulfilled and we have that meaning and that purpose. And this is what can continue to motivate us when the times get challenging. And of course, we all know those times are going to get challenging. Those times are going to get very, very challenging. And so again, it goes back to this basic understanding. I'll read this quote one more time by Friedrich Nietzsche. "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." I just absolutely love that quote. And along this lines, there is another great book out there. If you're into reading books, a book that I highly suggest for you that you would read is by Viktor Frankl. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. If you haven't read this book, I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but if you have read it, you're familiar with the story that Viktor Frankl was also a psychologist, a psychotherapist during the Second World War. He was, of course, taken prisoner by the Germans and sent to a Nazi concentration camp. I don't remember exactly which one he was sent to, but it's a little special meaning to me because I just came back from Poland and I visited the Auschwitz concentration camp. And so it became a little bit more personal what he was talking about. I don't need to go into detail, of course, about what the conditions at a Nazi concentration camp were like. You all know that. But his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he goes into this journey, this search for why am I here, okay? Why do I do what I do? Why am I here? What is my purpose for being here in this situation right now? And throughout the book, he discovers something. He discovers the answer to that question. And it's the answer to that question, why do I do what I do? What am I here for? Why am I here? That gets him through that situation. So he, long story short, you can certainly go read the book, he lived through the Nazi concentration camp. He was one of the survivors. And he went on to have a very prosperous career and, of course, write this book. But again, a quote that he wrote right here, this is one of the most powerful quotes from his book. If you find a why, then you can bear any how. If you can find a why, you can bear any how. And so, it comes down to this knowing our why. Why do we do what we do? And I can't tell you how powerful this is for your life, having an understanding of this simple question. Another one of my favorite quotes, you might have heard of the motivational speaker, Simon Sinek. He's got one of the most all-time viewed TED Talks ever. You can see it on YouTube. But the name of the TED Talk and what he says is, it all starts with why. Why do people buy Apple iPhones so much? Because they know why they want to sell their phone. People don't buy, as Simon Sinek says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. People aren't going to buy what you do for you as a person. You're not going to build a relationship based on what you're doing, but you're going to build that relationship of why you are doing it. And again, so much of my life here today, being in front of the camera and for everybody sitting here, has come down to this simple question. Why do I do what I do? And I can also tell you, until I had a real clear understanding of this, life can be a little bit tricky. You go in those ebbs and flows that life has. Now that's going to happen naturally. And all I'm saying is that when you have a better understanding of this question, why do you do what you do, it's easier to navigate those ebbs and flows, those tides of life. And it's easier to feel like you're living that higher meaning and purpose. It's easier to feel like you're achieving something. It's easier to feel like that you're living that fulfilled life. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We all want to feel like we're living that fulfilled life. We all want to feel like we're living that life of higher meaning and higher purpose. And it goes back to what I've been saying a lot already, an answer to that simple question. Why do you do what you do? And by the way, very quickly, I also want to say for those at home and those here in the audience, if you're not familiar with my book Mind Strong, you can go to Amazon.com and purchase this. It's less than $5 now, but it's called Mind Strong. It's available on Amazon. I just want to make everybody aware of that. But in this book, and again, there's a lot in here. I don't want to say too much about the author, but in this book, chapter 11, okay, I talk exactly about everything that I'm talking about here in this live training today. So be sure and check that out. So let's get into finding our why. I'm going to do an exercise here on the board in just a few minutes. But before I do that, I want to go over a couple of things. When it comes to finding our why, most people come up with an external why. Okay, and we're going to get into an internal why. Now, what is the difference? An external why is something that you have going on here in the outside world. A classic example of an external why comes to health and fitness and weight loss. Simple example, I want to lose 50 pounds, okay? That is an external why. I want to lose 50 pounds so that I can fit into a certain size dress or certain size clothing, or for men, a certain size pair of pants or something like that. That is a great goal. That is a great why. That is a motivating factor. The challenge with a why like that is it's external. It's out here. And once you hit that goal, which you all will hit that goal at some point, or another, it may take you a couple weeks or a couple months or who knows. But once you hit that goal, you hit that external goal, then what happens? This is exactly what happened to me. You lose motivation because now you don't have something to keep you going. This is like dangling the carrot out in front. Okay? As long as that carrot is there, then yeah, you can stay motivated and you can keep going. But what happens when that carrot is yanked away and that carrot is no longer there? Can you still stay motivated? That becomes the trick. If the carrot is no longer there, can you still find your motivation to get out of bed in the morning, to keep going? And the problem that we're seeing in the world today is the answer is a lot of people, most people can't. They can't find their motivation once that carrot is yanked away. Okay, in this example, the carrot I'm talking about is lose 50 pounds so that you can fit into a certain size dress or a certain size pair of pants or something like that. That's a great goal, again. But once you reach that goal, then what? And this is why one reason so many people gain the weight back. This is what happened to me in the first couple of years of my journey, why I was gaining the weight back, is because I had this external why to lose weight, to get in shape. Sounds great on paper. Even logically, it makes sense. But as we've seen, as I've learned over the years, it doesn't last in the long run. It's not sustainable because it's based on an external factor. And so what you have to do in this situation, when you have this external factor, is that now you have to set another external factor. Another example is, I want to run a 5K race. This is a great goal, don't get me wrong. Why do I want to do this? So that I'll be strong and so I'll be, faster or something like that. Again, a great goal, nothing wrong with that. I set many 5K goals, many 10K goals, worked my way up to half marathon and full marathon. I completed this goal. But as soon as I did that, because this was an external why do I want to do this? Well, my why at the time was so that I could have bragging rights, so I could have the medal around my neck, and I could have the race bib and the t-shirt and all of that went with it. And that worked for a couple of years. Okay, but what happened at the end of each race, I would have to find another race, and then another race, and then another race. And I did about, I don't remember exactly, 40, 50, 60 races, something like that over the span of 5 years. And they were all great. But it wasn't until the end of my recreational racing career about 5 years ago that I discovered my true why. Okay? And the true why is always internal. It always comes from within. And the internal why is something that is going to sustain you. With the internal why, you don't need that carrot that's dangling out in front of you because you always have that why inside of you. You always have that motivation, that passion coming from within. This is what sustains you. And this is what keeps you motivated. This is what keeps you going, especially as I found over the years when times get tough. And of course, we all know times are going to get tough and they are going to be challenging. So what we've got to do, one, we've got to be able to differentiate between having our external why and having our internal why. Most people, again, have an external why, which is great. It works in the short term, but it doesn't work in the long term. The only thing that works in the long term that's sustainable is having that internal why. Okay? An internal why goes very, very deep. That's why this training is called 7 Layers of Why. And actually, I've done this exercise that we're going to do here in just a few minutes. I've done this exercise all the way to 15 layers deep in different aspects of my life. And I want to say also, too, depending on what stage you are in your life, your why can evolve, your why can change. And that has certainly been the case for me. And part of staying up on your game, I guess, so to speak, sort of keeping in the loop, keeping educated on current events, something like that, is reviewing this exercise and continually going back and reviewing your why. My why has actually changed over the years. My why now is not my why of 10 years ago. It's definitely different. That's because life has evolved. I have evolved. But the same exercise, the same principle holds true. So what we want to do, if you're watching at home or here in the audience, go ahead and grab your paper now and your pencil, and we're going to start to do an exercise, because what we want to do is we want to find your why. We want to know why you do what you do. Okay, we want to find that driving factor, that driving force that's going to keep you going when the times get challenging. Okay, so right now, I'm going to take out my pen here. On your paper, we're going to start with this very simple question. Okay, all I want you to do right now is just write this question down. Again, if you're at home, you can write this question. And I had a question real quick. Tammy. So Tammy, the name of the book again was Mind Strong. You can get it on Amazon. It's less than $5. Yeah, chapter 11 in this book actually explains everything that I'm basically talking about right here, training everybody on. So, but if you're watching at home, here a couple of you, yeah. So go ahead and grab your paper, grab your pen right there. And on your paper, I just want you to write this one question. Very simple, okay? Why do, and we'll use first person, I would use second person, but I'll say, why do I do, oops, I'm gonna write, why do I do what I do, okay? So I want you to write that question very simply. Why do I do what I do? And as soon as you're done with that question, I want you to go ahead and just put your pen down. Okay? Oops, I dropped that. So yeah, go ahead and put your pen down, put your paper down. Now that you've written that question down, if you're at home, you can go ahead and put your paper down, put your pen down. Okay? Now just get nice and relaxed in your chair, okay? The key to unlocking our why is not to try to come up with an answer. We don't want our brain to answer this question, okay? We want our heart to answer that question. And so in order to get out of our brain, you probably heard that expression, out of your mind. Literally, I want us all to get out of our mind, to go out of your mind right now. So if somebody says you're out of your mind, that's actually a good thing right now. I want you to get out of your mind, and I want you to go into your heart, okay? And so just take a moment, sit in your chair. You can get, that's exactly like that, yeah. You can get nice and tall and upright, and just take a couple deep breaths. I want you to breathe in through your nose, and if you want, breathe out through your nose, or you can breathe out through your mouth. Either one, whatever is most comfortable for you. But just take a couple deep breaths in silence, okay? Breathe in. Breathe out. Just allow yourself to relax for a moment. Okay? Allow any crazy stresses, whatever, as best as you can. Just allow those to dissipate from your body, from your mind especially. Just take several deep breaths. Again, I just want you to relax, because really the key, the heart of this question comes from our heart. It comes from who we are. Okay? Not our mind, not what we do, or not what we think. It's not what we think. It's what we feel. Okay? Feeling is going to get us a lot further in life than thinking, believe it or not. And I should say feeling is going to get us a lot more motivated. It's going to help us be a lot more fulfilled, that purposeful life that we've talked about a lot. So take a deep breath, and in just a moment, I'm going to have you grab your pen again, but not yet. So just continue to take some deep breaths and just relax. If need be, imagine yourself very quickly just on a tropical beach somewhere, or sitting in front of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, drinking some coffee, or in my case, it would be hiking in Machu Picchu or something like that, some adventure trek somewhere in the world. That's what excites me, but that's what relaxes me also, okay? So let's go and take about 2 more deep breaths. Again, breathe a deep breath, breathe in as much as you can. And slowly breathe out. It doesn't matter if you breathe out through your nose or breathe out through your mouth. Either one will work. Okay. Now, in just a few seconds, I'm going to have you pick up your pen, not yet, and I'm going to have you answer this question. And I'm going to answer it too, because I'm going to do this with you, even though I've done this a bunch before. But we'll see maybe how mine has evolved, how my why has evolved a little bit. But I want you to write sincerely from the heart. It doesn't have to be a lot. I want you to write the first thing that comes to your mind, the first thing that just flows out of you, I guess does come to your mind. But again, we want to answer this question from our heart. We don't want to think about an answer. We want the answer to just freely come from our pen. So in just a couple more seconds, take a couple more deep breaths. Good, nice and relaxed. And I'm going to count down to 3. And when I get to 0, I'm going to have you pick up your pen. I'm going to have you write the answer to this question, just whatever comes most naturally out of you. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, 0. Pick up your pen and write your answer. I'm going to write my answer right now, so I'm going to turn my back a little bit to the camera, but so everybody here can see my answer. So I'm writing, why do I do what I do? Because I want my life to be about inspiring, and I'm going to say guiding others. Okay, that's a short answer. So my answer to this question, why do I do what I do? Because I want my life to be about inspiring and guiding others. Now, anyone want to share their answer real quick? No. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll get to it a little bit at the end. Yeah, we can turn off the recording later and do some shares. That's no problem. Okay. Now we want to go deeper though. Okay. So this is actually, when I've done this exercise, this is after I did 7 layers, this was the answer I came up with, because I want my life to be about inspiring others. But now I'm going to challenge myself to go even deeper than this. So now we're going to go to the next layer, okay? So we're going to go to layer 2, and we're going to ask why, okay? Why do I want my life to be about inspiring and guiding others? So whatever you wrote for your answer to that first question, this is layer 1, this is layer 2, we're going to ask why. Why do I want my life to be about inspiring and guiding others? And again, I want you to write your answer, just the first thing that comes to you. Okay, I don't want you to think about it or anything like that. Just write your answer. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm just going to write my answer here. Why do I want my life to be about inspiring and guiding others? Okay, I'm going to write because then, and I'm just writing freely here. Okay, because then I feel like I'm living a life of meaning and purpose. Okay? So why do I want my life to be about inspiring and guiding others? I could easily say that's part of my calling in life. That's why I've been put on this planet. But more than that, because then what we all want to feel like we're living that life of higher purpose. We all want to feel like we're living that life of greater fulfillment. And so this is why I want my life to be about inspiring and guiding others. So that I feel like I'm living a life of meaning and purpose. Okay, so that's the level 3. So now we're going to go to level 4, and I'm going to ask, again, we're always asking why. We want to go deeper. We want to get to that internal why. I'm going to ask, why is it important that I feel like I'm living a life of meaning and purpose? So why? So whatever answer you wrote, I want you to ask now, why is it important? And then whatever you wrote. So in my case, I'm going to ask, why is it important that I feel like I'm living a life of meaning and purpose? Why is it important that I feel like living a life of meaning and purpose? And again, I just want you to write whatever comes naturally to you, okay? Just let the words flow out freely from the heart. No thinking, just write whatever comes most naturally. So why do I feel like why is it important, let me get back on my camera here, why is it important I feel like I'm living a life of higher meaning and purpose? Because then I know, and I'm just writing freely here, my life has value. Okay, this is huge, this is key. I'm not a psychologist or a psychotherapist or anything anything like that at all. But I know, and a lot of you know, that mental health is a very big, serious problem in our country. Not just our country, but the planet. We have a lot of people all across the planet that are dealing with things like depression and anxiety and low self-esteem, okay? Part of the reason is they don't see value in their life. And when we have value in our life, then we have a reason to live. We're getting to our why do I do what I do. We're getting to the deeper layers here. This is a key factor into coming out of depression, into moving past anxiety, into all these low energy feelings and emotions that a lot of us have. So again, here in the audience or if you're watching at home, this gives my life value, knowing that I have value. People ask me, how do I stay motivated? How do I do what I do? It's because I know my life has value. And this is what people are searching for. And so that's what we're doing here right now. I want you to know, I want you to feel, okay, that your life has value. And I'm going to tell you right here, whether you know it or not, whether you think it or not, whether you feel it or not, your life has value. But I want you to feel that. When you feel that your life has value, when you know that your life has value, that's when your life really starts to take off. That's when you start to live that life of fulfillment. People always say, I want to live a life of higher meaning and purpose. I want to have that fulfilled life. We all want that. This is how we get it. It doesn't come from what we do outside. It doesn't come from what we do. It comes from what we understand on the inside. And so why is it important that I feel like I'm living a life of meaning and purpose? Because then I know my life will have value. And so whatever you wrote, okay, for your layer 4 here, whatever your why, it can be whatever. There are no right or wrong answers here. But we're going to move on to layer 5 now. Okay. Why is it important? So again, we're asking, why is it important? Why is it important that I know my life has value? Why is it important that I know my life has value? Okay, I'm just going to write whatever comes naturally to me because it gives me a reason to live. That's the most natural answer. I didn't think of that. That's just what came out of me. Okay. Why is it important that my life has value? Because it gives me a reason to live. Okay. When you have a reason to live, you can get up you can wake up in the morning and you're excited about life. That's what I want. I want you to feel passionate about your life. I want you to feel excited about your life. And the way we do that is that we know why we do what we do, because now I'm getting deep. Why do I do what I do? Sure, I want my life to be about inspiring and guiding others, but what I really want, even more than that, is a reason to live. Okay, when we have a reason to live, when we have a why, then we get up in this morning and we can conquer depression, we can conquer anxiety, we can conquer the low self-esteem. And why am I so harping on these issues and why am I so big on these issues? It's because that was me. I'm the guy with low self-esteem. I'm the guy with low self-worth. I'm the guy that's battled depression. I'm the guy that's overcome anxiety. You name it, I've been there. And I know a lot of folks here, some of you in the audience, and some of you at home can probably relate to this. The low self-worth, the low self-esteem, the depression, all of that stuff. It's because I didn't understand my why. Now again, I'm not a doctor, and I don't know about medications or anything like that, but I'm a firm believer in that we look internal, that we can fix what's going on in our outside world. If we want to get excited in the morning when we wake up out of bed, we need to do this exercise. We need to do this training, and that's another reason why I'm here doing it with all of you today, because I really want you to understand this, and I really want you to get this. So I'm getting excited. You can see I'm getting goosebumps, okay? Because it gives me a reason to live. That's powerful. That's powerful. Now, I already know, it's already come to me what my next answer is going to be. But again, we keep asking why. So I'm going to go to number 6. I'm going to write it down here. Don't worry if you can't see this. I can put this in some show notes or something later. But why is it important that I have a reason to live? It seems like a silly question, but it's actually a very important question. Why is it important that I have a reason to live? Because then I'll know my life matters, and so I've got my back term, and this is what everybody wants in their life, right? They want to feel like they want to know they're making a difference. I'm making a difference. And I know you can't read my writing, that's all right. I'll put this, for those at home, I'll put this in the show notes so you can read it later. But again, I really want you to just write whatever comes to you. So why is it important that I have a reason to live? Because then I'll know my life matters and I'm making a difference. And that's ultimately what we all want, right? We want to know and we want to feel that our life matters. If you're watching at home right now, you want to know and you want to feel that your life matters. Okay, to me right here, this is the cure for depression. This is the cure for anxiety. Okay, this is the cure right here for what ails us. And notice I haven't given a single prescription. I haven't given a single pill, anything like that. Now, again, I want to be respectful of everybody's background. We all have different backgrounds. I know a lot of people come from all walks of life, and I'm just giving here my example from my background and my walk of life. And there's a lot of things I have experienced, but there's a lot of things in life I have not experienced. And I'll be honest, I have not experienced trauma or violence of a significant nature or abuse of any kind. But I truly believe that this exercise that we're doing here can really help a person work through a lot of that. Understanding why you do what you do. So you see, originally, why do I do what I do? Because I want my life to be about inspiring and guiding others, and how much more powerful it is because I know that my life matters and I'll be making a difference. Okay, when you understand this, that your life matters, that you're making a difference, quick show of hands, yeah, you're going to be able to wake up excited in the morning, okay? Now you have a reason to wake up. This is how we get excited about our life. And so that's what I want this to be about for all of you. Again, is having that reason to get excited, having that reason that you know you're here for a purpose, that you know you're making a difference, okay? So we're going to go to the last one. Remember, this is 7 layers deep exercise. So I'm going to draw an arrow, or I'm just going to write it up here. So next question then, the 7th one, why is it important? Again, every time we write an answer, we keep asking why. Why is it important that my life matters and that I'm making a difference? Here we go. Because for me, again, these are my answers. For me, it's all about love. Okay, so the last one I wrote, because for me, it's all about love. Now, you can't see what I'm feeling right now, but I can tell you right now, inside of me, it feels like a warm cup of tea. It just feels really, really good. Now, if I compare my first answer, because I want my life to be about inspiring and guiding others, if I compare that to my layer 7, because for me, it's all about love. And when we boil it down at the end of the day, what does everybody want? What's the one thing I want? What's the one thing you want? What's the one thing that the world needs? Okay, it's a crazy world out there right now. It is chaotic, it is hectic, it is hustle culture, it is go, go, go. It is stress-o-mania. And again, like I said in the beginning, I'm just an ordinary guy. It's no different for me. I have a lot of the same stresses. Maybe my bill is different from your bill because I live tiny living, minimalist lifestyle, but I still have the bill. I still have the gas bill. I still have the telephone bill. I still have the rent, all of that stuff. I still have to pay gas in my car. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, the one thing that I want more than anything, the one thing I feel in my heart that you all want, maybe need more than anything, I think the one thing that this planet needs more than anything at the end of the day is love. And ultimately, that's why I do what I do, because ultimately for me, it's all about love. And that is a powerful motivator. And so I'm going to look right in the camera right now and just tell you, when you understand why you do what you do, that can be the most powerful motivating force on this planet. And when you know your why, this is an internal why. First of all, I'll just say it's sustainable. It will last. But when you understand your internal why, you can unleash within you a power that the world has never seen. Okay? That power is you. That power is inside of you. That power is you. And when you know this exercise, then the most beautiful part happens. You get to share that with everybody. You get to share your why with the world. But only if you've done this exercise. I want to thank you all for coming here today. I very much appreciate it. Very quickly, before I wrap up, I know a couple of you, I'll turn the camera off and we'll do some questions and all that. If you get to number 7 and it just doesn't feel right, then keep going to layer 8, layer 9, layer 10. Like I said, I've done this exercise. I do this exercise a lot. I probably do this once or twice a year, at least once a year, sometimes twice. And I've done it before where I've gone all the way to layer 21. So it's got to feel impactful here. And like I said, you can't see me right now. You can't see what I'm feeling. But you heard my tone of voice change. Because for me, why do I do what I do? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about love. And that's a journey that I'm on. That's a journey that I think we are all on, whether we are even aware of that or not. And again, it's just my humble opinion. I think what the world needs more than anything is not only love, but genuine, sincere love. Love that is rooted in compassion, not love that is rooted in fear. We can have love rooted in fear too. That'll be another presentation for another time. Anyway, thank you all very much for coming. If you've been watching online at home, thank you. If you are online and you do have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat and I will do my best to answer them later. But I appreciate all of you being here today. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. But I appreciate all of you being here today. And again, at home and here in the audience, be well, be safe, be happy, eat ice cream. Find your why. This is how you can do it. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm very easy to find on Facebook Messenger, anything like that. Hope you've enjoyed this exercise. Thanks again. Everyone at home, thank you. Take care.